Well, Mr. Shore, come in.
Thank you, Jennings.
May I take your coat?
Sure, thanks.
Mr. Shore, my dear fellow. Come along with me. There's somebody I'd very much like you to meet.
All right, fine.
Oh, brother, I'd like you to meet Colton Shore.
This is my ex-wife, Tracy Quartermain.
Colton, this is my mom.
Mr. Shore is my chief mechanic. Well, actually, that sounds rather grubby, doesn't it? Perhaps I should say that he is the chief architect in the restoration of the Aphrodite, and indeed the very backbone of our crew on the quest.
Pleased to meet you, ma'am.
Ma'am, are you from the South?
Well, I've lived all over the place, but I spent my formative years in Oklahoma.
Well, thank God there is someone with their feet firmly planted on the ground in charge of the difficult work. And I can't tell you how thrilled I am that there's someone as young and handsome and capable as you at this party.
Thank you.
Shall I tell you, how I first heard about Ashton's quest?
Tracy? Sure. Go right ahead.
Oh, this is harmless. Actually, it was on our wedding night. Crossed my heart. Oh, and I'm just so thrilled he's finally gotten it off the ground.
Large projects take time, my dear.
Mm-hmm, and tons of money. Lord knows whose.
Yes, ma'am. It certainly will be interesting to see who comes out on top of this one. Pleased to meet you. And if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go say hello to Mrs. Quartermain.
Oh, well. I mean, that young man is the reincarnation of Gary Cooper.
How are you?
I don't know. I really don't know him very well.
I just bet he'd make long nights at sea pass very quickly.
If you're really serious about Ned's past and future fortune, you'll keep a zipper on those luscious lips.
I think you still care.
Good evening, Doctor. May I take your wrap? Good evening, sir.
Thank you.
Ah, Dr. Benuti, you look absolutely lovely.
Good evening, Alan. Have you met my friend, Charlie Prince?
Yes, we have. World-class fencer. I just attempted to participate. I couldn't walk for a week.
Yes, he's a good sportsman.
Ariel,
How can you show your face here after what you've done to me?
please just give me a chance to explain.
I don't want to hear anything you have to say. No one's ever hurt me the way you have.
That is exactly why I've come here tonight. I wanted to tell you how wrong I was, and I'm sorry. When I was talking to you about Felicia, I was hurt, and I said some things that I probably shouldn't have.
What happened? Did you have a fight with her? Is that what brought you over here?
Never mind, Felicia, all right?
How can I never mind Felicia? You told me that she was the love of your life, and I don't mean anything to you.
I'm not asking you to forgive me. I don't expect you to.
Don't ask me because I can't.
All I'm asking you to do is give me a chance to prove to you that I'm not such a terrible person.
No, I hope. Good evening.
Hello.
Please.
How are you? Nice to see you.
Jennings, how do you do?
Thank you very much. Very, very welcome. Very much. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Come in. I'm so glad you could come.
Thank you.
Now meet our guest of honor, Tracy. Excuse me, darling. Tracy, this is Lieutenant Lavery.
Hello.
Robert Scorpio. He's our police commissioner. Police commissioner? Well, I pity the poor crooks. I bet you're utterly relentless.
Right.
Right.
What a pleasure.
Nice to see you.
Robert, how are you? Alan. Nice to see you. I need your patience.
Good evening, Commissioner.
Excuse me.
Robert, I'd like to thank you for sending the police escort.
Yes, except for the fact that we didn't need him.
Well, maybe I did it for my own personal peace of mind. In any case, the plainclothesman stays until both Captain and myself are convinced that he's no longer necessary.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Oh, I don't know, but I think this evening's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, that's if we survive it.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you this evening?
Fine, thank you.
Good.
Everyone says it looks great.
Oh, come on, Monica.
Very much the cost.
Mr. Van Buren, how are you?
All
Nice
right.
to see you.
Good to see you
May I
again.
introduce you to my wife, Monica?
Yes, indeed. It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting us into your lovely home.
You're more than welcome.
Oh, is that a ghost you see before you?
May I introduce the policeman from Robert Scorpio?
Colt, come on, snap out of it.
I'm sorry, I was just
Trying to remember this guy when he walked through the door. I had a flash. I know that I met him. Van Buren? Yeah. Well, that's the way it is with famous people. You see, his face has been in every newspaper, magazine in the world. No, this was different. Very different.
Mr. Van Buren, I'm Ariel Ashton, in case you forgot.
How could I forget? Lady Ashton, of course. Meeting such a beautiful woman is always a pleasure.
Thank you. Have you met Catherine Delafield?
I don't believe so, no.
This is Nicholas Van Buren, Catherine Delafield, and her fiancé, Paul DeVore.
Pleasure indeed. Well, I must say this room is filled with fascinating people. Miss Delafield, you had us all terribly scared the way you disappeared.
Oh, please don't remind me. I'll never live that down.
Nonsense. The magic of your piano will have the entire world at your feet, especially the Schubert.
Whoa.
You have given me many a sublime hour of entertainment.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
And Dr. DeVore, I must say you've each caught a prize. World-class pianist, world-class archaeologist. Thank you. You know, I read your papers on the Proto-Minoan civilization. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Well, thanks very much. You must have quite an interest in archaeology to have read those papers.
I'll admit that archaeology can be a bore, but I read them for business.
Oh, now how would those be used in business?
Well, you see, the ancient people might not know where the gas and oil was because it simply didn't apply to them. But they certainly knew where the gold and diamonds were. So you show me a wealthy city of antiquity and I will show you unknown riches.
Well, where do I sign up?
All right?
Buffet supper is now ready in the dining room.
Thank you, Jenny. Let's talk further about that.
I hope so.
Yes?
Excuse me, may I ask you something?
Of course.
I'm so curious. How did you wind up at Charlie Prince's restaurant? How did you meet him?
Oh, Larry introduced us. He wants me to get to know the fellow.
I wonder why.
I think he needs him on the quest. Will you excuse me?
Sure.
Oh, have you met Yasmin Bernoudi? This is Dr. Bernoudi of the British Museum, Nicholas Van Buren.
Yes, indeed. Dr. Bernoudi and I have met, and I certainly am familiar with her work in ancient and erotic Chinese poetry. Yasmin, you look lovely as ever.
It's been a long time.
Well, I think it's been a lucky star that directed me here to Port Charles this evening, where I could meet so many charming people.
Oh, Charlie, there you are. This is my friend Charlie Prince. This is Nicholas Van Buren.
How do you do?
Pleasure. No further introduction is necessary. I feel I know you already, Mr. Van Buren.
Oh, Mr. Prince, really? You belong to some secret government agency I know nothing about?
No, I'm just a collector of interesting faces and places.
Thank you.
Ready for dinner, my dear?
I'm sorry.
Excuse us, please.
I should think you'd like to be with your husband.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. How are you? Help me with her.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Where's everybody? I hope they have some green beer. Oh, we could get something to eat. What do you say? Shall we? How's the evening to you? Are you enjoying the party so far?
Yes, I am. Why do I get the feeling there's more going on at this party than everyone is saying?
That's because my mother carries that atmosphere around with her.
So you touring the entire world?
The old roundy bit, eh?
Well, not the entire world, just Far East and most of Europe.
Oh, it's been fascinated with something like that, you know?
You know about what?
Oh, you know, is it true that the old toothbrush never has a chance to dry between piano playing?
Well, it does depend on the humidity, so I carry 3 toothbrushes.
All different colors, too, I'll bet.
Red, white, and blue. Well, very nice.
Yeah, here.
There you go, darling.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Van Buren, what brings you to Port Charles? Business or pleasure? Business is my pleasure, Mr. Donnelly. Consequently, all trips are both.
Well said. Would you mind excusing me? Of course not.
Well, he's certainly not running from his geniality, is he? Is it me, or does he just seem scary?
I certainly wouldn't turn my back on him. Shall we mingle?
Well, I know you didn't invite that girl. Who did? Or is she just a party girl?
Well, darling, I haven't the foggiest idea. With this seething mob, the whole place looks like the London Underground of Russia, so I can't see what difference another body's going to make.